Congratulations to Bristol City on a fantastic season, supported by and reported by the Green 'Un.
When the red robin comes bobbing along, there'll be no more sobbing when he starts throbbing his old sweet song. Ah, wake up, you sleepyhead, get up, get out of bed, cheer up, the sun is lit, love, laugh and be happy. What if I've been blue? Now I'm walking through fields of flowers. Rain may glisten, but still I listen for hours and hours. I'm just a kid again, doing what I did again, singing a song. When the red robin goes bobbing along.
That was lovely, wasn't it? Well, heartbreak 24 hours ago. Celebrations this afternoon. Bristol City may have failed to clinch the Second Division Championship, but thousands turned out to celebrate their return to the First Division. In this special programme, we'll have the first pictures and interviews from City's promotion party. Well, Leroy and Russell have been with us throughout the season, following City's highs and at times their lows as well. Well, Russell, this is certainly a fantastic high for them, isn't it? Promotion to the First Division, it's what everyone's been waiting for.
It's fantastic. It's great that they've managed to do it. They can look forward to next season now. One or two things that they've got to do, obviously, to maybe strengthen the squad, but, you know, bags of congratulations to them for what they've done.
Leroy, a bit of a shame that they couldn't make it as Second Division champions.
Yeah, it is a shame, but you know, the main thing was they got promoted, and that's the most important thing. If you said that at the start of the season, they would have taken that. It's a shame they didn't have the title to show around today, but never mind, they're in the First Division, and that's what's important.
And great that Rovers could be in with the chance of joining them there.
Yes, isn't it? I mean, we said they'd sneak in, and they've done that, and you know, fair play to them as well. They've come off the rails and got in a playoff situation. Let's hope they get through.
It was a fantastic performance by them yesterday. And we'll be following Rovers' progress in the playoffs against Northampton, and of course, if they get to Wembley, in special highlights programmes here on HTV. Well, as I said, thousands of people turned out in Bristol this afternoon to cheer home City's heroes. The streets were crowded as John Ward and his team left Ashton Gate for an open-top bus tour to the Council House. Our reporter joining them for the journey was Chris St Valerie.
The fans were ready and waiting for their promotion heroes since early morning. Many had travelled down from Preston last night, disappointed about missing out on the championship, but still basking in the glory of a promotion season. Everyone was friendly today. No team talk needed for the manager as the team prepared for their final promotion drive of the season. All aboard for City's promotion party. I'll play at the back, lads.
We don't get many occasions like this, and we've got to enjoy it. In the last 10 years, I think this has probably got to be one of the best teams I've seen for a long time.
You got any autographs yet?
No, I'm trying to get some.
Players and fans looking forward to the First Division next season, but tinged with a bit of regret over being picked for the Championship.
I've been up third, I've been up second, I really thought this show's going up first. 21 years and I'm still looking for that all better team. Just come to and get my hand on it.
Dreams can come true, don't give me, babe, I'm with you. You know you got to have hope, you know you got to be strong. Dreams can come true, don't give me, babe, I'm with you. You know you got to have hope, you know you got to be strong.
Well, I expect the trip home for the players last night was quite quiet, but I think today they can expect something a little bit different. What was it like last night then coming back? Was there a great deal of disappointment in the camp?
We're in good spirits. I mean, to be fair, we had a few drinks at Preston. I mean, the hard work was done before that with promotion. We're just a little bit disappointed that we didn't get the championship, and that would have been like obviously the top end of it really. But I mean, our main aim, like I said at the beginning of the season, was to get promotion, and we've done that relatively easy in the end, really.
Now you must be looking forward to playing First Division football next year.
I think it's really exciting. If you look at the sides that are in it, and the sides that probably not even going to go up at the minute.
Yeah.
And the competition's going to be really hard, but hopefully we can cope with it like the three sides who went up last year did.
We not enjoy the summer, but we know when we come back in July, that's when the hard work begins.
Any team that's got promotion, there's going to be a buzz about it. It's great for all the fans that, you know, to turn out like this and support the lads. I mean, they've been magnificent all season.
Russell, I love that wig that Greg Goodrich was wearing there. It's a great chance for the fans to celebrate, isn't it?
And they've turned out in style, haven't they? You know, it's great to see. They've worked hard all year long, the players. You know, they can relax a little bit now. All the hard work's been done. They can have 3 or 4 weeks off, relax, recharge their batteries, because next season's going to be another tough one for them.
But I mean, this whole season has a lot of hard work has been done by the backroom staff and everybody at the club, hasn't it? A lot's gone into it.
Yeah, I think people just look at...
I mean, you know them at the club, don't you? How do you think they'll be celebrating?
Well, we keep seeing Buster Footman there. I mean, Buster's probably been one of the busiest fellas down at Ashton Gate. Now, for a physio, he'll probably work 7 days a week, you know, right the way through from pre-season, right the way through till more or less when pre-season starts again. He's got a thankless
job. We'll see more of him a bit later on in the programme. And we'll have pictures later in the programme from the rest of the Open Top Tour, including the scenes at the Council House. But for now, let's look back to last August. Richard Latham, who's written a special book for the club following City's progress, is the reporter for our review of the season.
It all began with a day to remember and to forget for Steve Torpey. 24 hours after signing for City, he notched his first goal for the club at Grimsby. By half-time, Torpey had been stretchered off after a sickening clash of heads that would mean weeks on the sidelines. City recovered from that shock to hold their lead until the closing stages, when Tommy Widrington's equaliser restricted them to an opening day point. At home to Blackpool a week later, it was John Ward's other new striker, Colin Cram, who announced his arrival. A convincing Ashton Gate start saw Sean Goater miss a penalty before making amends with the goal that clinched a 2-0 win. But problems were looming. Fulham's visit began in silence following the death of the Princess of Wales. And there wasn't much for City fans to cheer when the action started, as Paul Moody sounded an early warning. Ward's 3 centre-back system was starting to come under the microscope and wasn't stopping goals like this from Aidan Newhouse. Richard Carpenter's second half goal meant a first home defeat, and worse was to follow in the next game at Wrexham.
Hughes. Spink. One of those 3 centre-halves. Callison comes toward him. Connolly, hooking it in, Spink! Oh, that's a smashing goal! Carl Connolly takes it quickly. Brammer across the face, it's in! A superb header from Watkin! Oh, what a cracker! At the moment, Wrexham are too clear. Bell, Goater! They're not too clear anymore.
3 defeats in the first 6 league games had the crowd distinctly edgy by the time Bournemouth came to Ashton Gate. But all seemed well when City made a bright start, and Gary Hours teed up an early goal for Sean Goater. Ward's men couldn't build on it though, and one of the defining moments of the season came after Steve Robinson had produced a late equaliser. This is how close Torpey came to grabbing a last-gasp winner. But the final whistle brought early season frustration to a head. Ashton Gate critics in full voice, leaving manager and players shocked.
We didn't like that, neither myself or the players. We felt that was unfair. You know, we felt that we're not entitled to draw a game at home. We'd had the bulk of that match. We were 1-0 in front with 7 minutes to go. And then Bournemouth, to their credit, came back and scored a decent goal. And the reaction of the supporters was that these sort of things shouldn't happen. We shouldn't do that at Ashton Gate. And I think that shocked and surprised the players a little bit, a lot of who were new, the same as myself. And if anything, there was a toughening up within the dressing room and a steeling together, saying we'll do this for ourselves, if you like. And then I think you saw the results alter a wee bit after that, and certainly there was a strength in the dressing room that was derived from that situation.
That strength was evident when Luton arrived the following Saturday. Greg Goodridge made his first start of the season and City received some early assistance.
Torpy with the header. Yet dropped for Cram. Now, was he bundled over? Yes, he was, says the referee. Penalty for Bristol City. It's Mickey Bell. And it's 1-0 Bristol City. It is the start they wanted. Dyche drills it forward. Bell had to change direction to collect it, but he's done so. And now he's found Tinian. Now he can deliver a good cross. Torpy's there. And again. And it's somehow gone in. It's not the prettiest goal ever, but Steve Torpy won't mind that. Cram, good flick on. Torpy appeared to being held. Still Torpy goes on. And that's a superb finish by Steve Torpy. John Ward is off the bench, jumping up in delight. And that could well have been a penalty. But Torpy wouldn't be denied, kept his feet, and in the end rammed it into the bottom corner. It's his second in the space of about 3 minutes, and Bristol City are really in the driving seat now. They lead by 3-0, and they're playing really very well indeed.
Away from home, it was a different story. At Gillingham, City were out-battled by a physical home side, for whom Adiakin Bayi was in lethal form. This time, there were no excuses.
We knew we played very badly at Gillingham, and I think if you speak to any of the players, they'll tell you that was a very low point of the season for themselves. And we knew that couldn't happen again, if you like. We had to sort of prepare ourselves to get better than that. And it was a lacklustre, quite polite way of putting it. It was a poor performance. So we knew that. We said that at the time, and we had to sort of work very hard to turn that around from that position.
And what a turnaround it was. At Southend a week later, City won the battle and the match. The combination of Torpy and Cram winning a free kick, which was tailor-made for Mickey Bell. Coming up, a trademark goal from the inspired summer signing.
We put a big week of work in, if you like, and going into Southend, and I think we went on the Friday, and I actually trained on the Saturday morning, which was quite new to some of the players, and we put together some situations, some pre-match situations, if you like, on the Saturday morning, the morning of the game, and I think that really put into everybody's mind the importance that I felt certainly about the game, and put everybody really on their toes.
With that frame of mind established, City were to prove unbeatable over the next couple of months. The coup de grace at Southend may have been somewhat fortunate, but the build-up had renewed confidence written all over it. Adam Locke with the cross, defender Julian Hales doing the rest. A 2-0 win and the away jinx well and truly buried.
We went into that with a very sort of strong attitude and strong approach to getting our result, and once we'd done that, we'd convinced ourselves, if you like, that we could now come away from home, the Bristol City soft side, if you like, away from home that was directed at the club, had a real good chance of disappearing, and I think that convinced the players that we certainly were better than we were at Gillingham.
Well, Leroy, being booed off against Bournemouth, that was a real low point in the season for City, wasn't it?
It was a low point, but it seemed to be the turning point as well, because as John said, that they weren't used to that. They're new players at the club, they didn't know what to expect, and to get booed off for drawing 1-1 at home was something new to them.
Why do you think they had such a poor start to the season? Losing 3 of the first 6 matches.
So much happened at the start of the season, the signing of Steve Torpy, going off with a head injury before half-time, and then all the new players, the injuries to Sean Dyche, they had a lot of, the things just weren't settled.
And they really had to survive a lot of pressure on that, didn't they?
They did, but at the end, it brought them close together and they showed their resilience.
Excellent. Well, that was just about the lowest point in City's season. After the break, we'll see how physio Buster Footman helped to turn the tide, with a little help from Vera Lynn and a few wartime tunes. Welcome back. We'll have more from Bristol City's celebration tour later on in the programme. But we continue our tour through the season. For this review, we go to Southend last October. With the team down in 19th place and apparently facing a battle for survival, physio Buster Footman decided it was time for drastic action.
Happy days are here again at Ashton Gate. Victory salutes at the end of a campaign in which more than enough battles have been won. But don't run away with the idea that it's Sean Goater's goals or John Ward's tactics which have clinched promotion. The real hero is physiotherapist Buster Footman and his medley of war tunes, which now echo around the dressing room before every match.
Started at Southend. I got so fed up with some of the crap they used to play, it used to drive me balmy. It was all, they had one tape sounded like a bloke walking down the road with a squeaky wheelbarrow, and it just drove me balmy. So we went to Southend, and I took it back with me because I was going to stay the weekend and go down the club in Southend. And I put it on in the dressing room, and we won. So I said, if we won today, we've got to keep it going.
It's just become part of the every footballing day for us now, and even to the extent that for the last couple of home games, when the lads have come out of the dressing room, they've played it on the tannoy at Ashton Gate, so there's been no getting away from it, really.
The manager claims to have heard players humming the tunes off the tape, but you won't get them to admit it.
I think it's terrible. A few of the lads like it, but most of the injured lads are straight in the gym as soon as it goes on.
I'll switch it off as soon as it comes on and go out the room. Honestly, you know, how big a part has this tape played in your promotion campaign? In mine personally, I'm not a great lover of it, but we listen to it, we have a laugh, and Buster sings along quite well.
Where did you remember some of them when they were originally out, is that right?
Well, that is not a true fact, no, but I do remember, I keep saying about the Dad's Army, because I used to watch it, and it's a catchy song, and everyone sings to it.
Who do you think you are kidding, Mr. Hitler, if you think we're on the run? We are the boys who will stop your little game.
Baby face, you've got the cutest little baby face. There's not another one to take your place, oh, baby face.
Wish me luck as you wave me goodbye. Cheerio, here I go on my way. Wish me luck as you wave me goodbye. Not a tear, but a cheer, make it gay.
Run, rabbit, run, rabbit, run, run, run. Run, rabbit, run, rabbit, run, run, run. Bang, 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 bang goes the farmer's gun. Run, rabbit, run.
Meet again. Don't know where, don't know when, but I know we'll meet again some sunny day. Keep smiling through, just like you always do, till the blue skies chase those dark clouds far away.
Your assessment of it musically?
Musically, it's interesting. I think it's probably not what Vera Lynn thought about when she recorded a lot of them, and but it was stirring stuff in the Second World War and afterwards, and I think it's been stirring stuff in our dressing room.
Last word to Harold Buster Footman. A Royal Marine for 12 years, he certainly knows a victory march when he hears one.
The results have been all right, that's all I'm saying. Without the music, we'd probably still have the results, but I'm telling them that it's down to the music.
Well, Rosenior, it certainly seems to have worked. Have you ever heard anything like that?
Well, years ago, we used to hate music being on in the change room or anything, you know. Now, whether it was because we got James Brown on, but, you know, whatever's worked, it's been terrific for them.
And apparently one of the songs for one of the players was Who Were You With Last Night? Can you think of any appropriate titles?
I know who I was with last night.
How about you, Leroy? Any songs for any particular players?
Well, the only one that comes to mind is Crazy, and that's Jackie Jackanoski. But I know for a fact all the players hate that music, but they're scared stiff of Buster Footman because he'd kill them if they said anything else. And that's a fact.
I'm sure he wouldn't. Well, Buster's remedy certainly seemed to work. With the Ghetto Blaster turned up at full steam, the team reeled off a run of 13 matches without a single defeat. So let's just enjoy a few reminders of that stunning sequence.
What looked a harsh penalty award for handball set City on their way against Preston. Mickey Bell waited for the protest to die down and calmly buried his shot. But there was more drama to come. Sean Dyche, eager to make up for missing the start of the season through injury, inadvertently gifted Preston their equaliser. Cue Greg Goodridge for a terrific late decider, and City still had the winning habit when they travelled to the Memorial Ground to face Bristol Rovers.
City were delayed getting to the game, and John Ward handed his team sheet in with only 3 minutes to spare. He named Sean Gota up front, and the club's top scorer rewarded him with the opening goal. The fit-again striker almost grabbed another on the counter-attack, and later revealed his determination not to become Sean the scapegoat.
For me, I was just thinking, well, look, you've come in, he's made a change. Let's make sure we get another result. I don't want to be the ones that come in and, you know, be the jinx and stop this run that we've been having.
4 minutes into the second half, and Gota collected his and City's second, despite the valiant effort of John French on the line. Goal number 9 of the season, and well worth celebrating with a few friends. The Bermudan international nearly bagged a hat-trick, but this time last man Matt Lockwood did deny him. Rovers stormed back in the final 20 minutes, though this goalmouth scramble suggested that the bulk of the 7,500 crowd would finish the game disappointed. There was some consolation when skipper Andy Tilson scored late on, but while City have strengthened their promotion push, Rovers were left to rue another poor home result.
So to Brentford, and another win to stun the rest of the second division. By now City hardly contemplated defeat, and they'd unleashed Tommy Doherty to prove he's no respecter of size. Some typical perseverance from the teenager allowed Sean Gota to set up Steve Torpey. All the early doubts in City's play had vanished, and one slick move followed another, although the match was closer than the scoreline suggested. Matt Hewlett showing his strength to supply the goal-hungry Gota. Even Ward must have felt he was dreaming.
It wasn't a run that you could envisage, really. You know, I mean, any club that goes on that, it's quite special. And I think we were breaking records that lasted sort of 60, 70 years, people were telling me. So it was quite unique and quite unusual. But again, I think to win the local derby games was very important for us. And again, it convinced people that we could actually go and cope in big game situations. And you know, there's a lot of pressure in Bristol in those matches, and I thought my players coped really well in that. And as each result came in our favour, even though perhaps 1 or 2, you know, that you say that 4-1 win at Brentford, it wasn't a 4-1 convincing victory. Brentford played pretty well, but we got the breaks and we scored our goals, and it just adds confidence to everybody and makes them believe even more. So every result added that little bit extra to the team.
That was certainly the case at Watford in the battle of the top 2. Gota breaking clear to give City a first half advantage. They were pegged back by Watford super sub Gifton Noel Williams, but the 1-1 draw left the manager well satisfied.
It was a major game, and to take the lead and to hold that with just a few minutes to go was very important to us. But also to take 4,500 or so of our supporters and create a really big game atmosphere let me know that my players could cope with situations. They weren't just good players, that temperamentally they were very good as well.
Against Millwall on Boxing Day, City hit top gear as Colin Cram began the seasonal celebrations. Next to fill the stockings of supporters was Rob Edwards, whose goals tend to come a bit like Christmas, once a year. Millwall pulled one back, only for Brian Tinian to produce a cracker. And the 16,000 crowd went home contented and looking forward to a happy new year as Sean Taylor made it 4-1. But all good things come to an end, and Paul Moody's set-piece goal at last registered a league defeat at Fulham. Sean Gota for once couldn't find the net, and the big spending Londoners clung on. But what did it matter? Against informed Grimsby, Cram took just seconds to open the scoring. Before the Mariners could recover, they were sunk by a Taylor torpedo. Again, the boss had to rub his eyes.
They came as the informed team. You know, we were playing pretty well, but they came as the side we all feared a little bit. And I think we'd seen all their results. They were winning games consecutively, and they came as a very, very strong team in our division. And if we were going to get a challenge at that stage, it was looking like Fulham, who were buying their challenge. It was certainly Grimsby were looking a very good side, and I'd tipped Grimsby, I think, at the beginning of the season to be a threat to everybody. But we got a magnificent start. I mean, 2 goals in the first 5 minutes really set it on, and sometimes after that the performance can just die away a little, but I thought our performance throughout that game got stronger and stronger, and we added goals to it, so it was a super win.
Super is the word. Cram on target again to rub home City's superiority. Then Gota showed he was no slouch at outstripping second division defences. A late consolation for the visitors couldn't spoil a memorable display.
The manager's done brilliant. You know, I think we went top of the league today, and you know that can only be good for Bristol City. We've been breathing down Watford's necks for the past 2 months, I think. You know, and it's what worked out well for us today.
So 26 games gone and City top of the table. More importantly, 15 points clear of third place. The success continued. At Wigan, Doherty again belied his size to start things off. Well, you wouldn't think of marking him at a corner, would you? Now how about this for quality? Not just the pass from Brian Tinian picking out Cram, but the finish when the return ball came in. Inevitably, there was a goal for Gota, but soon Gillingham were ensuring no one got carried away.
After squandering several first-half chances, City fell behind soon after the break when teenager Jim Corbett claimed his first ever goal for Gillingham. John Ward's men hadn't lost at home since early September. The Kent side continued to impress, Nicky Southall on hand to double their lead. City certainly created plenty of openings, but found goalkeeper Jim Stannard in unbeatable form. The veteran stopper made a clutch of superb saves, allowing the chasing pack to close the gap on City to just 10 points.
Russell, how do you think they began to turn their season around after such a poor start?
Well, I think bit by bit they managed to blow all the teams away, both Watford and Bristol City. They got such a good lead on top of everybody. Then, looking at their side, they were scoring goals in every position. The front lads were scoring goals, the midfield lads were scoring, even Tommy Doherty, Tinian and Sean Taylor was getting goals from the back, you know, so it suddenly locked it up at the back, but we're scoring a lot of goals.
It was a remarkable run, wasn't it? Something like 12 wins in 13 matches that they had.
Yeah, not easy games, you know, they went away from home and got good convincing wins, and they carried on the good fortune at Ashton Gate. They put a very strong run together there.
Were there any players in particular outstanding for you during that period?
Not as individuals, I think as a team they worked very well together. Good supply of chances for the front lads, solid work at the back, you know, and they've got a good keeper there, Keith Welsh, who was doing his bit as well.
Absolutely. Well, as Russell and Leroy both know, a manager's job isn't just confined to training sessions or match days. Much of his working time is inevitably spent at his desk, and John Ward shared some of the secrets of his office with our cameraman.
The door of a football manager's office normally remains closed to all but the privileged few. But here's a rare chance to have a peek behind the scenes at Ashton Gate. No surprise to see football shirts hanging on the wall, but in John Ward's inner sanctum, not everything is how you would imagine it. What's Victor Meldrew doing here, for example? What's this picture all about? And what on earth is this?
The false beard was sent by a supporter when we had a sort of sticky time, and he was very supportive actually. It's a good letter. He's a member of the supporters club and said if we'd like to go in there any time and join in for a drink, it'd be very welcome, but it might be advisable at that time to wear a false beard, and he sent it along for me. So just a good sense of humour at a difficult time, and I wrote back and said how much that was appreciated.
Victor Meldrew, cheer up. Is that someone who knows you?
That's actually from Bristol Rovers, from the office staff when I first came here. Yeah, they thought I was miserable over there, and when I came to Bristol City, that's been there over a year now, so I just keep that as a little reminder that I've got to be a bit more cheerful in my job, and I think I've tried to do that as well.
Some days you step in it, some days you don't.
Present from my daughter. She knows about football management, and she saw that one day out on the market, and she said that's just a job for my dad's new office down at Bristol City, and of course there it is. So it's interesting for me because I don't actually see that. I sit and look at other people's faces, and when they do, everyone likes to have a little look round your office and see what's there. And it's interesting when their eye catches that. So there's a cow with it, and they're just trying to weigh it all up. But just a sense of humour from my daughter that just keeps me sane, I think.
There are also some reminders of absent friends, like the player Ward sold to finance his team's successful promotion challenge.
Well, Darren Barnard, I asked for his shirt. He was the first player I'd sold to the Premiership club, and I said to Darren, look, would you send me a shirt when you get it all done? And amidst all his excitement of moving, he sent me his shirt down, and so that's pride of place up there.
I wonder if he's wearing the wig today. Well, still to come, how the fans reacted to City's promotion, an exclusive interview with Chairman Scott Davidson, and of course more highlights from the latter stages of the season and this afternoon's tour of the city. That's all after the break. Welcome back as we move into the final straight of Bristol City's race to promotion. They were riding high in second place in February with an automatic promotion place in sight when they went to manager John Ward's former club, York City.
Again, the doubters were having their say as City went to Bootham Crescent and had to survive early pressure. York were making life pretty uncomfortable for their former manager, and Ward was grateful to some missed opportunities by his old players. Then Scott Murray earned a penalty, and it was down to Mickey Bell to calm the nerves. Fortunately, Bell doesn't know what nerves are. A 1-0 win and huge relief all round.
We had a spell of 5 or 6 games with draws without actually winning games, and we'd drawn at Luton on the Saturday, and it was getting a wee bit edgy, and we had to go up to York City, which is a tough game by any standards, and midweek as well. And I felt I needed Steve Torpey to come back. He was getting himself fit again after another injury, and we put him into the side, and whilst it wasn't our best performance, it was as strong as we'd been for a little while, and we got a penalty, we win the game 1-0, and the reaction on the pitch afterwards from the players with the supporters showed that game, in a sense, we all felt that perhaps it was a turning point again.
So spirits restored by the time Derby Day came around again. Rovers on a bad run, but determined to take some of the gloss off City's season.
Gota hasn't had too much change so far from the Bristol Rovers defenders. He hasn't had too much in the way of decent service either. Now on by Torpey for Murray. Gota available in the middle. Here he is. Was he nudged? He was. Penalty kick, says the referee. And Bristol City have a great chance to take the lead. And Eddie Lomas is taking no nonsense from Bristol Rovers and their protests. It's Pritchard who's been named as the guilty man as the cross came over. Gota was challenging for it. He went down. Penalty kick, said the ref. 33 minutes gone, and City with a great chance to take the lead. And if Mickey Bell converts this penalty, he'll be into double figures for the season. Not bad for a defender. It's going to be Bell against Collett. It's 1-0 to the home team, and Bristol Rovers have it all to do. Bristol City and their supporters are celebrating.
I think they'd come on 4 consecutive defeats, and it's never going to go that way. It's going to change somewhere and somehow. You know, and a good side like Rovers are not going to carry on losing matches as they consequently proved. And that was the tricky one for us. As could we stay with that one? Even though we're at home and the bulk of support's in our favour, we had to stay mentally tough with that one. And I thought the team played very, very well that day.
There are 4 men in the wall at the moment. Rovers have a couple around the ball. It's Ramasat. Ron Welsh had to help it over. Good try from the youngster. I remember him scoring from similar range against Wrexham earlier on in the season. Just found the bottom corner. That one had a bit more trajectory on it, and Welsh was happy to tip it over his bar for a corner kick. Bell still in possession. Now it's Edwards. 4 waiting in the box for the cross. Tinian finally delivers. Torpy, good try. Deflection as well, that'll be a corner kick. Tinian to take it. It's beaten everybody. Gota got the last touch. He must be wondering how it didn't drop in. Real melee in the penalty area. Corner kick missing out the players on the near post, and further over, Gota so close to number 2 for Bristol City. Gota pulls it back, Murray's in there, just denied by a brilliant challenge. I think it was Graham Power who saved the day for Bristol Rovers. Their defence went to sleep almost. Murray was just about in for his first goal for Bristol City, denied in the nick of time. Murray will have to go some, he's kept it in play, and Gota turns it home. And that really has put daylight now between the 2 Bristol clubs. Sean Gota, City's top scorer, makes it count once more.
It was a very strong 2-0 win for us, because as you've seen after that, Rovers went on and put themselves in a very, very strong position. So that was a tough game, and again that was another little mark on the season where I came away feeling very pleased with my team and the way that they'd performed.
If I had to pick a result of the season, I think it would be 2-1 at Wycombe.
Yeah.
Following transfer deadline week, that was a bit of a special week, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a hard week for me. We'd fought very hard in terms of trying to keep Sean Gota. I was a big believer, and I still am to a point, that Sean Gota was a very good player for Bristol City and would continue to do so, and would score goals in the First Division for Bristol City and would help us at that stage get promotion and push the Championship. To lose him at the last sort of gasp, if you like, when even in the morning I've gone training and with Sean and worked with Sean in terms of preparing for Wycombe Wanderers, and left the training ground at lunchtime expecting Sean Gota to be in my team. To find out within a couple of hours that it wasn't going to happen was personally was a big blow to me. And we went into the Wycombe Wanderers game determined and strong, but it was always a bit cautious to see how the whole thing would go for the day. And we put Greg Goodridge back in the side, and Sean McCarthy had come down, so it was a bit of a change, 1 or 2 alterations to it, but they performed brilliantly, and the result was first class. The performance was excellent, and the reaction after the game from players, staff and supporters together was one of sort of unity, really, that we were all in this together. And then it didn't matter that Sean Gota had gone that one moment, although I think we've missed him a little bit since.
All that was left was to celebrate promotion in style, after it had been clinched without kicking a ball on Good Friday. City had to wait a few games, then Walsall arrived at Ashton Gate. Gary Hours setting the tone for a day to remember. There was a hiccup as Frenchman Didier Tolo danced through to beat Stuart Naylor. Surely City fans weren't to be denied their knees up again.
The Walsall game at home, sometimes scripts are written a little bit, and it being the final home game, we didn't play great, but people didn't mind. They'd come for a party, and it was fitting perhaps on the day that Brian Tinian was involved in both goals, one with the cross and then scoring the free kick, and then the party sort of started, if you like.
10 minutes later, the final whistle, and at last it was time to let your hair down. the players had desperately wanted to end on a winning note at home, and how the mass ranks of City fans relished saying thank you.
The fact that the supporters stayed as long as they did and wanted to keep partying and wanted to keep letting the team know that they appreciated their efforts was fun. And to see the players and to see a group of them sort of diving in the goal mouth and Greg hanging on the crossbar and messing around, I think that just let the supporters also know that with all the ups and downs we've just chatted about, to win promotion for this group of players means a great deal to them. And I think there was a let's say, a little coming together there of everybody. And I've always said that if the supporters and the team get together at Ashton Gate, then who knows where we can go and what we can do. It's well worth trying.
Well, Leroy, we see all the happy scenes there, but it was a big blow for them when Sean Gota went, wasn't it?
It was a big blow for them, and you could see it on John's face at the time, but they coped with it really well.
I mean, it was quite an important stage of the season, really, for them, wasn't it?
That's
they had to
right.
stay ahead.
And to lose them, you know, just the day before the Wycombe game was a big blow, but they coped with it again. Everything that was put up against them this season, they come out and shown the players themselves deserve credit for this, because they come out and showed great resilience and got results.
I mean, Russell, it was important at that stage of the season because they had the lead, didn't they? But it's hard work to have to stay there.
Yeah, you know, and they did have a big lead, and bit by bit that got ate away at by other teams trying to catch them. Disappointing when Sean Gota went. But like Leroy said, you know, they showed great resilience, great character, and they just got on with the job, you know, and they just made sure that they got there.
Were there any matches in particular you think were very important? I mean, do you think against Rovers it was?
Yeah, the two games against Rovers, it's always a great boost to beat your local rivals, and to beat them home and away was a big boost to the players, and I'm sure it gave them a lot of confidence.
Well, follow Rovers' progress in the playoffs later, but for contractual reasons we can't show action from yesterday's match until later this afternoon, but we will have highlights of City's 2-1 defeat at Preston in West Match Plus at 5:40 this afternoon. Well, City took around 3,000 fans to Preston, and many of them had already written to Ashton Gate congratulating the players and thanking them for their efforts.
Ever since City clinched promotion on Good Friday, hauling John Ward's mailbag has been no fun for the postman. Messages of congratulations have poured in from all over the country, many from clubs delighted by City's success, including some second division rivals. They cover the gymnasium wall. Ward's office just wasn't big enough.
Well, I think it was more a case of letting everybody see them. You know, we wondered whereabouts we could put them so that the players and other people in the staff could have a look at them and see that their efforts have been appreciated by other people. So this was as big a wall as we'd got, so we thought we'd put them up here.
Some of the messages might come as a surprise to supporters. Among the first to offer their congratulations were Bristol Rovers, with a personal message from a manager big enough to put local rivalries aside.
It doesn't surprise me. You know, we've tried to do that right the way through, and whilst we have got rivalry, while we do try and beat each other, while we both want to be top dogs in the city, then it is nice that people at Rovers have said, well done to Bristol City. It's a nice one from John. I think John's kept in touch with Bristol City since he moved on to the England job, and it's nice to know that he's sort of recognised that and passed his congratulations on. And of course with Swindon, you know, being a local club as well, we've got good contacts there.
One here from Bournemouth, what's the significance there?
Well, yeah, that's a good sense of humour as well. You see the congratulations. They've knocked us out 2 of the cups this year, and they've just put, well, we knew if we let you concentrate on the league, so it's as if they've done us a favour really by beating us in the FA Cup and the auto windscreens. It's very nice that they think that way.
Supporters have sent in cards, and it really has been a response from across the football spectrum.
We've got from some Premier League sides and so friends of mine and friends of the club really that have sent things through. It is nice, and they've kept coming. It's not as if they've just come all on one day, all on spec. They get 4 or 5, 6 or 7 a day or whatever, and this wall gradually getting filled up, and it'd be nice to sort of complete it with a few more next week.
Well, no fan could have been more excited about City's promotion than the chairman, Scott Davidson. He had been on the terraces as a 13-year-old when City gained promotion to the old First Division in 1976. And as Richard Latham discovered earlier today, he still gets the same buzz from City's successes as he did as a boy, and just as he did as a backing musician to stars like Pet Shop Boys and Bros.
Scott Davidson knows a thing or two about life at the top. His music career saw him perform with several famous bands and artists such as Matt Goss from Bros, who've remained good friends. City's chairman can also give the players a few lessons about facing big crowds. Watch out for the keyboard player.
or there were stories about you when you were on stage, getting City scores and all that sort of thing. So the club was never very far from your mind.
It's all true. Somebody asked me yesterday, it's not true. Is it? Yeah, those sort of stories were true. Fanatically following the football club wherever I was, getting the results on a piece of paper stuck in front of me when I was playing.
Tell us specific examples, can you remember?
There was one in Europe when we were playing Nottingham Forest in the first leg of the League Cup semi-final. And of course we were leading there 1-0, and I mean I played a few wrong notes that night, I tell you, when we were looking like we were going to win.
Life as a football chairman can be lonely, but in 2 years at the helm, Davidson has seen City's fortunes transform.
You've got to dream a little, you've got to know what you want. And I, like thousands of City fans, dreamt of a stadium that was full, celebrations of promotion, and getting the heart and soul back, and it just shows you dreams do come true.
Now Davidson's concern is the future, and that means spending big money this summer, almost certainly on their striker. Gillingham's Adi Akinbaye has already been the subject of a major bid, so far rejected by the Kent club. There's also been speculation over Bristol Rovers' Barry Hales. The big question supporters are asking is, can City afford such expensive targets?
We've talked about the Akinbayes and the Hales and a few others because they're the proven goal scorers, and I think we've experienced from Sean Goater arriving at Bristol City. He had a great track record at scoring goals and delivered for us, and I think we would be foolish to go into next season without someone with a track record of 20 goals a season.
Big gates have swelled City's coffers, but the board know a great deal more money has to be raised.
We had a meeting last week and said, well, come on, what are we going to do? We've got to go forward. We've talked about the financial restructuring and how we can increase the capital base yet again. And everyone around the board table, and there's been one or two other people who've approached us, which who we're talking to, but they've been tremendous and have backed the club again this summer, will back the club financially, which will enable the club to go and spend a substantial sum, let's say.
There's been speculation in the press about certain names, Adi Akinbaye, you have made inquiries about, Barry Hales. Those players are going to cost you more than £1 million. Is that a possibility?
Yes.
Well, Russell, he says there's money available. Do you think they're going to have enough at success in the First Division?
Oh, I think so. It's a shame he wasn't chairman when we were there, Leo. But that's what it's going to cost them. You know, you're looking at good players in the First Division now are going to be a minimum of £1 million. So depending whether they just want one striker or 2 or 3 players to add to the squad to strengthen it, it's going to cost a lot of money.
But Leroy, Scott Davidson really has played his part as the chairman in the success of City, hasn't he?
Brilliant. His enthusiasm, he's fresh, he's young, and he's a City supporter through and through. I think the interesting point there was Richard asked him, could they afford to do it? Can they afford not to do it? I think is a question. I think he knows that, and I think he'll put a lot of money into the club.
How many new players do you think they're going to have to buy over the summer?
Well, that's not for me to say, but I would say 3 or 4 to strengthen the squad initially, and then obviously during the season, obviously you'll be working all the way through the season to strengthen the squad, but I think initially 3 or 4 at least.
Are there any particular names you can think of, Russell?
No, not at the moment. I think they've got to wait and see how some of the injuries shape up as well that they've got. Mark Shale, Sean Taylor, got to see how those lads are looking through the summer. But they can't wait till next season to see how they are. They've got to act quickly.
OK, we'll find out over the summer. Well, a marvellous day for the chairman and for all City fans. We can return now to this afternoon's open top bus tour and join Richard Drew for this report on the latter stages of the tour.
Journey's end for City's fans and players. They may not have finished with a cherished championship, but promotion was the aim, and today the hundreds of fans on College Green were keen to celebrate and thank John Ward and his players.
Well, it's great, isn't it? Absolutely wonderful. We got relegated a few years ago, and deservedly so, but it's great how quickly we've come back again. I think it's great.
It's such a long time in coming. It is actually brilliant. The last few seasons have been so horrible. We are glad that they're actually doing it.
Fade off towards the end. Pity didn't win it yesterday, but been a good season, good feeling for the fans. Hope we do well next year.
It wasn't just the fans who were celebrating. With the council house as a backdrop, there was civic pride too.
What I want you to do next season is for you to watch Bristol City all the way, because we want Premier football in this city, and it can only be done by the will of the people of the city and of course the management. Congratulations to you. Have a good afternoon and enjoy yourself, and give these lads 3 more cheers when they appear. Thank you.
All season, the most important thing we've had is your support, honestly. I wrote in the gatepost 2 years ago, could we possibly get 10,000 supporters to games? And now look at it, we're disappointed if we don't get 15,000. This club's gone an awful long way, and thank you.
Then what the fans wanted, the players and manager John Ward. Of course, champagne was on hand. And if you didn't get wet from that, the Council House moat was on hand, for fans and players alike to take a celebratory dip.
Leroy, the big question, how is City going to get on in the First Division next season?
I like to think they're going to finish in the top 10 and then maybe get in the playoffs, but it's going to be hard work, and just to consolidate would be good.
How about you, Russell? How do you think they're going to get on? What's your predictions for them?
I think they'll start very well. You know, usually when you get promotion, first half a dozen games, you start well, keep going well through till Christmas, and if they can hold that from there to the end of the year, I think they'll finish in the top half.
And the fans are going to play a big part as well.
Oh, they will do.
Let's hope lots of them get along to Ashton Gate next season. Well, that's it from this special programme celebrating City's promotion party. And don't forget, highlights of Preston against City in West Match Plus a little later on this afternoon at 5:40, along with the Second Division Championship as their target as they kicked off against Preston. They knew a win would give them the title, provided Watford didn't get a hatful of goals at Fulham. City, who had lost their last 2 away games, made just one change from the side, which beat Walsall. Rob Edwards returned to central defence in place of Scott Patterson. Our reporter Chris St Valerie watched the match as City's championship bid developed.
City had travelled to Preston knowing a win would probably hand them the championship. But they weren't helped by an injury to Greg Goodridge within the first few minutes. Goodridge declined the aid of a stretcher, but in his absence, Preston took the lead. City caught out by the long ball and Lee Ashcroft's spectacular finish. Stuart Naylor with absolutely no chance. But within 5 minutes, City's championship ambitions were on again. This time a howler by Tepi Moilanen, giving Sean McCarthy his first goal for the club. And a bit of a Jimmy Floyd Hasselbanks. McCarthy bravely playing in this match after the death of his father overnight. But as is so often the case, City was stung by an immediate reply. David Ayres at the far post. City evidently missing the organisational skills of the injured Sean Taylor. The second half was dominated by City, urged to push on from the bench, but handicapped by the loss of Sean McCarthy. Greg Goodridge tightly marked throughout, going close this time. But Preston could easily have gone further ahead themselves. David Ayres with the trickery here, but unfortunately fooling himself as well. With Watford winning over Fulham, time ran out on City's championship bid. The fans had seen a promotion-winning team, but on the final day of the season, the top spot just eluded them.